It's a beautiful Friday evening at the corner of 20th and Blake as we get set for Rockies baseball tonight. They open a three-game series against the San Diego Padres. The Rockies looking for a win, trying to get back on track after losing the series to the Mets earlier in the week. Jorge De La Rosa will be on the hill for Colorado. 4-1 record so far this season. His one loss coming against San Francisco in a game he got 0 run support. In fact, the Rockies were blanked in that game 3-0, but he has certainly looked like the ace of this staff, and the numbers go along with it. Lowest batting average against through the first 7 starts of the season all time. Jorge De La Rosa now third behind Denny Stark and Ubaldo Jimenez, who of course had a tremendous 2010 season. Welcome inside Coors Field as we get set for Rockies baseball. Right now it's time to turn things over to Drew and Jeff as we get ready for the first pitch. Guys?
Hey, Tom, thanks very much. 197 is a very impressive opponent batting average. Forget about it if you're a lefty. They have 3 hits against them all year long. Naturally, the Padres will load up on right-handed bats. Jorge right now is the right man to have on the hill tonight.
Well, he's really the ace of this staff. You just break down all his numbers. The 197, that's 5th best in the National League. But every time he goes out there, he's going to give you 3 earned runs or less. I mean, that's just the way he works now. That fastball, he has command of that, the split finger, the hard slider. And more importantly, I think he has control of his emotions now. He really knows when, hey, I need to back off just for a second. Things are starting to spiral a little bit. Let me slow it down. He's figured that out.
You know, he walked 4 of his first 6 in his last start, and Jim Tracy made a great point to your observation. He said, you know, a few years ago, we would have had to go get him in the 2nd inning. There was no way he would have gotten out of the 2nd inning.
No more, though, because he's growing up. He understands that for him to be a successful pitcher, a guy to stay out there for 6, 7, 8 innings, he needs to be able to shut down innings. Sometimes when he's made the trouble himself, he's been able to do that.
So De La Rosa will have the baseball tonight, opening up this 3-game set with the Padres. When we come back, we'll talk about a roster move the Rockies made earlier this afternoon. On the disabled list of late with a oblique strain, very common injury among major league players the last decade or so. Ty Wigginton back in the fold, though, reinstated after playing a doubleheader for Colorado Springs. He was hitting .233, was really coming on before the injury. Ian Stewart was sent back down to AAA. You know his struggles this year have continued even since his return from AAA, so he'll go back to Colorado Springs. And Jim Tracy addressed the Ian Stewart situation earlier.
We are searching for offense, and he is struggling mightily right now offensively. And for Ian Stewart to be a part-time player is not going to work.
Basically, Ian Stewart's going to go down to Colorado Springs, and it may be a while because they are going to make sure he is right.
And make sure that he's able to handle that inside fastball. And that's the one that's given him so much trouble, to see if he can make the adjustment and get a number of at-bats, not just 20, 30. I mean, it could be 150, 200 at-bats down there. You never know. He will determine when he comes back next.
That's a great way of putting it. Ty Wigginton will be in there. Most days he'll be at third base. As we mentioned earlier, he was coming on offensively. The Rockies need production from third base. Colorado and San Diego, game one of this three-game set. Come on back to 20th and Blake with us. Minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By Ford Explorer, 2011 North American Truck of the Year. Ford Explorer, drive one. By the new Quest 5-year price lock promise. Visit quest.com/promise for details. And by Southwest Airlines, new Rapid Rewards unlimited reward seats at no blackout dates. It is a pretty night at Coors Field. The rain has gone. 3 days of rain pretty much, and it has moved out, and it is a beautiful night for baseball. Big crowd expected. That's a good look at Kristen Orfia, who's swinging the bat well. He'll be in the leadoff spot. He's at .370 in 23 games. He'll be followed by the former Tampa Bay Ray, Jason Bartlett, hitting .256 in his new uniform. Jorge Cantu also has been in Florida. Chase Headley will bat cleanup. Cameron Maben, who was with the Florida Marlins most recently, hitting .252 in center field. Ryan Ludwig, the former Cardinal. Rob Johnson, Alberto Gonzalez, and Dustin Mosley, the pitcher. And Jorge De La Rosa, 3-2 lifetime against the Padres, but last year he pitched very well against San Diego.
And he's going to face a lineup tonight that, other than Chase Headley, who's a switch hitter, is all right-handed because of that 197 average against, with lefties only hitting 107, just 3 hits. Right-handers not much better at 217. But one thing Jorge has been able to figure out is how to pitch here at Coors Field. Since 2010, he's 8-3.
Well, the Padres got in Wednesday evening, so they've been here for 36 hours, really 48 hours. They're well rested, and the Padres on Monday as a club, they were hitting .214 for Bud Black. Well, they had 13 hits Tuesday and 23 hits, one off the all-time single game high for San Diego on Wednesdays. They scored 13 runs, so 36 hits on Tuesday and Wednesday raised their cumulative batting average 16 points.
That's pretty tough to do, even if it's early in the season, but it's still May, and they've played 37 ball games now.
So Denorfia is gone, and Jason Bartlett will step up. New double play combination this year. It's Bartlett at short and Orlando Hudson at second. Now, you didn't see Hudson's name in the lineup because he's still on the disabled list with a hamstring injury. He's with the club. He's going to go out on Sunday and start playing a couple ball games, rehab games at AAA. Visited with him briefly. He says the hamstring really feels pretty good. So
he was giddy about it, wasn't he?
Well, he's always pretty giddy.
Well, I know, but to be able to think that your legs are back underneath you and you feel good when you go out there and run, for a guy that has 10 stolen bases on the season,
yeah,
it just makes that smile even bigger.
Yeah, he's never had a bad day at the ballpark. One of the most upbeat guys in baseball, Orlando Hudson. Here's the 1-1, and that misses. 2 balls and a strike. 62 degrees, our game time temperature. About twice as warm as it was yesterday.
And no rain.
Talking to some folks, we saw Dave Veers, former Rocky.
Mike Myers,
visiting with them before the ball game. They got like 8 inches of snow down in the Castle Rock area. Swung on a miss, 2-2. In fact, Veers said, I cut the lawn on Monday and shoveled the driveway on Wednesday.
That's what I love about Colorado,
yeah.
though.
What's the old line? You can get all 4 seasons in one afternoon.
I was just saying 5 minutes.
Yeah. Two and 2 on Jason Bartlett. 1 out in the first inning. And this is chopped foul. Bartlett hitting .344 out on the road, .164 at home. And that's kind of been the San Diego trend. You know, they're tough at Petco, right? Not this year. They're struggling at home. They've been a much better team out on the road and a much better team offensively out on the road.
That's part of the reason they're 7-14 at home and 8-8 out on the road.
2-2, swung on and missed. That gorgeous changeup. One of the best in baseball. Jorge De La Rosa with his first punch out of the evening.
Well, the thing for the changeup, he can throw it a couple different ways. He can split the fingers a little bit, or he can go the circle change. But either way, the ball ends up going down and you get the awkward swings from righties or lefties.
So Jorge Cantu, wide open stance. That pitch misses. It's 1-0. Rockies defensively will have Cargo in left. Ryan Spilborgh's again in center field. Dexter Fowler's close. In fact, if he's in the starting lineup tomorrow, that would not be a surprise. Seth Smith in right. Wigginton at third. Tulowitzki, Herrera, Helton, and Iannetta. Here's the 1-0. And on the corner for a strike. One of the top ball strike umpires in the game. Back there tonight, Jeff, Dan Iasanya.
Very solid. Grades out among one of the top ones every year.
And the 1-1 to Cantu. And that's lined to center field. It'll be a base hit. So that'll get Chase Headley, Colorado Springs native, to the plate. It's still strange looking up and down that Padre lineup and you're searching for Adrian Gonzalez. He's in Boston. Well, actually, he's in New York right now. not the Red Sox taking on the Yankees, but playing for Boston.
He'd been such a fixture with that organization after being traded from the Rangers.
This is popped up and playable down the right field line for Seth Smith. One pitch, and Headley is gone. Pretty nice inning for De La Rosa to begin. We'll see the Rockies bats against Dustin Mosley when we come back. Not playing yesterday and today, nursing that slight knee injury, that bruise from fouling a pitch off his leg a couple of days ago. It'll be Smith leading off. Johnny Herrera, Mr. Big Fly, he'll be in the 2-hole. Carlos Gonzalez, Troy Tulowitzki, Todd Helton next. Wigginton will bat 6th. Ryan Spilborghs, Chris Iannetta, and Jorge De La Rosa. Rockies lost 9-5 yesterday. They walked 9 batters in that ball game. As you look at the numbers for Dustin Mosley, forget the record. This guy's pitched very, very well.
Just not a lot of run support. That's the problem. San Diego is averaging only 1 run in 5 of his 7 starts this year. Not walking many guys. He just knows how to pitch because he's not overpowering.
Well, Huey, how about this? He misses ball 1. In his first 3 starts, the Padres did not score.
Yeah, and that's why he's got the lowest run support in the major leagues.
And he just gave up a solid single to center field. That's a good start for the Rockies. Smith reaches. Let's look at the worst run support in the National League. And this is not a category a pitcher wants to be on top of, but Mosley's there. Just a run of games. You know, you give one up and you're like, oh boy. I mean, they were shut out the first 3 games. It happened to Kenny Rogers in 2008 when he was with Detroit. The Tigers in his first 3 starts were shut out in all 3 games. The last time it happened prior to that, 1972. Remember the left-hander Rudy May?
Yes, Oakland.
Yeah. I mean, he pitched for a bunch of clubs. And Rudy May's first 3 starts in 72, all shutouts against.
And those numbers right there, we said it in the National League, but that's overall, too, in the major leagues. 1.03 runs. Think about all the guys that have taken to the mound this year in games that have been pitched. Fastball that's going to sit right about 89, 90 miles an hour. Will cut it. Overhand curveball, changeup, and an occasional slider.
Show you an interesting graphic also because he's working against a guy that has the converse going on. Jorge De La Rosa has had outstanding run support this year, 6.5 runs a game, which is second in the National League to Kyle McClellan, who's getting better than 7 runs a game.
And Jaime Garcia's off to a 5-0 start.
Well, Cardinals have really torn the cover off the ball. That's a strike, 2-1.
Well, really, after Matt came back from the surgery,
appendectomy, yeah,
that they've been very good.
Leading all of baseball in team batting average.
We're winning again tonight, 3-0 in the 6th.
And by the way, speaking of, Huey mentioned that ball game earlier today, the Cubs beat up the Giants at Wrigley 11-4. So if the Rockies win tonight, they'll go back into a first-place tie with the Giants.
Don't think the guys they've already seen that. They know what's going on.
There goes Smith. Hit and run is on. And Johnny got a piece of it. 2-2.
Boy, that hole was really open between the bag at second base and third base. Bartlett had just started to go right over towards second. There was all kinds of room. But that curveball is tough to stay back and hit it that way.
Inside 3-2. So you and I walk in the clubhouse this afternoon, and what does Johnny say to us?
He
goes,
stopped
hey,
us. He stopped us.
Exactly. He had to tell us he hit a home run in batting practice today.
Right-handed, about the same place he hit the ball yesterday.
First home run in batting practice in 2 years.
Well, set to take off now.
And this is fouled off.
That was funny, though, just to see his reaction. I mean, yesterday he hit the ball very, very well to left field. But today he was just almost as happy about the home run he hit in batting practice to tell us, because he said it was just like yesterday's. I've got the stroke down. I know what it feels like.
He was more fired up about that one.
Mm-hmm. I'll be interested to see if maybe San Diego flip-flops who covers out at second base with 2 attempts by Jonathan to try to hit the ball to left field, if they maybe have the second baseman cover.
He was still shortstop. It's ball 4. And the Rockies have their first 2 on for Carlos Gonzalez. Take a look at the Padres defensively. Brian Ludwig in left, Cameron Maven, who covers a lot of ground in center. Chris Denorfia is in right. Denorfia can play center field, but he runs well. Headley, Bartlett, Gonzalez, and Cantu. Bartlett's a good fielder at short. Rob Johnson behind the plate. Pitch in there for a strike. Breaking ball. Mosley's a contact guy. They're trying to get ground balls.
Well, he only has 19 strikeouts in 43 innings, so he has to be a contact guy. Doesn't walk many guys. He's one of the leaders in double plays because there's a lot of traffic out there.
And that's called a strike. A couple of off-speed pitches. Backed up the curveball with a changeup. So Gonzalez in an 0-2 hole. You know, the ratio's not great. The walk's a good number with 43 innings. Smith singled. He's at second. Herrera just walked. Set up away. It misses.
But that's really Dustin Mosley's MO. Shape the corners. Don't throw anything down the middle. Even the outer third or inner third, he's got to be even more fine than that.
Mosley in the Yankee organization last year, up and down between AAA.
Bud Black knew about him back with his days as pitching coach for the Angels. Mosley was a pitcher in their system, and that's how, when Mosley became available as a non-tender from the Yankees, Bud Black said, we need to sign this guy. He's got pitchability. I like him. I've had him before. I understand what he has.
What did he tell us? He said he has a good pitcher's mind.
Well, that just tells you that he doesn't have overpowering stuff. He knows how to add some and subtract some.
Now Cargo back in the count. 2-2. Good athletes on base, not necessarily flyers. 3-2. You know, if you look at the Rockies, the composition of their position players, the only guy you'd say can fly is Dexter.
Yeah, but he's better underway.
He's better underway. He's not
the base
quick
stealer
at it.
yet.
Yeah.
You put him in motion, I would. They're going to pitch him away. Just make contact, stay out of the double play.
They're not going, and it's a ground ball to first. And Cargo beat the return throw. So Gonzalez now 3 for his last 26 at the plate. He continues to roll over with great regularity out in front. So it's first and third for Troy Tulowitzki. Who wants tacos? When the Rockies score 7 or more runs during any game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies tacos special. Only at Taco Bell.
We need some tacos. It's been a while.
It has been a long while. Troy struggling with runners in scoring position, just 179. There goes Gonzalez. He got a huge jump, no throw. Cargo has his 5th back.
He's not been caught yet.
You know, sometimes talk about players offensively at the plate, ambushing a guy, swinging at that first, maybe get ahead fastball. For me, that's exactly what Cargo did there. He ambushed Mosley, went on the first pitch.
Because he figured he's not going to throw him a first pitch fastball. It's trying to get me over curveball that bounced, and he was smart about it.
And a line shot, base hit. Gonzalez had to wait a moment. He's still going to get a green light. The throw by Magan will be cut off, and it's a 2-run single for Tulowitzki. And boy, that's great to see the Rockies break on top early and do it by putting some hits together. Troy with RBIs 20 and 21.
The other thing I like about it too is he hit it right back up the middle. It wasn't a pull into the hole. Those are fine too, but that was a ball that was middle and down, and he stayed with it, stayed right to the center of the field. Even though Carlos had to hold to make sure it got by the pitcher, still had the wheels to beat Maben's throw in.
On the outside corner, a strike to help. This is Mosley's first appearance against the Rockies. There's no history. One and one on help.
But they saw plenty of film on him in the locker room today. Every time we're in there, Brian Jones is running video of that pitcher, and they're on all the TVs, so you get a feel of where that arm action's coming from.
There goes Tulowitzki, and the throw to second is not in time. So the Rockies taking a page perhaps out of the Padres playbook. Padres run a ton. Troy just picked off his 3rd stolen base. And the Rockies 2 for 2 here in the opening frame.
Be smart about it. Understand the pitcher going home, a little bit of a higher leg kick. Rob Johnson's only thrown out 3 of 14 base runners, now 3 of 15 base runners on the season. He was able to slide in onto that backside pretty easy.
On the corner, it's 2-2. Todd didn't like it. Hilton hitting .333 in the month of May, a home run and 6 RBIs. Rockies hit 6 home runs against the Mets. They lost 2 out of 3. Every one of the home runs was a solo job. And Todd turns and hits that foul. And you know what? We were talking in the open, Huey, about Ian Stewart, and Jim Tracy was talking about having him cover the inside portion of the plate, something he has struggled to do, and so pitchers keep wearing him out in there. And you made a great point. You said, you know, turn and hammer one foul.
Just rip it foul inside, because now in the pitcher's mind and the catcher's mind saying, okay, he can handle that ball inside. Let's try to get him away. But you're actually pitching to the hitter's strength, which is away in Ian Stewart's case. So wrap one foul, then look back away, and you can drive that ball back up the middle or the other way.
That's what Todd just did. Here's the 2-2. And Todd gets a pitch he can handle, and he's going to have an RBI base hit. Here comes Tulowitzki strolling in.
I mean, that is exactly as you described. He hammers the pitch in. He gets something out over the plate he can handle. And Helton has RBI number 17. It's 3-0 Rockies.
It's just a beautiful swing from Todd, but it was set up by the previous swing, just fouling that one, yanking it foul. The pitcher's, I don't want to go back in there again. I've got to go away from him. Well, they go down and away, and he stays through the middle of the field. You can see Dustin Mosley's reaction, the leg kick from Helton, and just a gorgeous swing with the head down, the follow through, the extension, everything. And it's nice to kind of build on this inning, because you feel the excitement. You put some runs together, you put some hits together, and I can't remember the last time he scored 3 runs in 1 inning.
Yeah, it's been a while. Troy kind of grimaced as he was running to the plate. Now Scotty Garrett, the assistant trainer, and Troy just visited. Now they went down in the tunnel and are heading up, we assume, to the clubhouse. Wigginton takes ball 1.
Well, the other thing that could be happening too is there's a little area right by the dugout underneath where maybe he just needs to have his legs stretched out a little bit more. So the trainer will go down there, stretch out maybe a hamstring.
2-0 on Wigginton. Ty's great. You know, Ty's got some character to him. He's a terrific guy, and he is a baseball player's baseball player. And I said to him, surprised that you played both ends of the doubleheader in your first action back with the oblique yesterday. And he goes, I talked my way into that second game. They wanted me to get 2 games in. I figured I'd get them in 1 day and be ready to go today.
It was so funny to hear him talk about it, because I wasn't surprised to see him back today, but just asking him how he felt after that. He said, yeah, you shouldn't have cared, because it was 2 7-inning ball games. That's what they played on in the minor leagues, not 2 9s. He goes, man, they were long games, though.
They typically are in Colorado Springs. So Wigginton skies to short right, 2 outs, and that'll bring up Spilborns with Helton at first. By the way, Todd, with that base hit, has now hit 9 of 10 ball games that he's played in May. The Rockies, after a 17-win April, are just 2-8 thus far in May. It's been a rough go in the first inning for the Padres, evidently. In there, 1-1. You know, Tulowitzki with the 2-run single earlier in the inning. It's his first multi-RBI game in exactly 1 month. The last time he had 2 or more in a game was April 13th, when he had 3 in New York against the Mets.
Billy's going with the high pants today.
He is, isn't he?
It's the first time he's broken that out this year.
Did you play on some teams that you did not have the call on that?
No, sure. Especially early on in the career. It was a case where you had to show some stirrup.
Good to see Troy back in the dugout.
Later on, though, you could wear him up, you could wear him down, you could wear just about anything.
There's a line drive, base hit up the middle. I'll tell you who has to be really pleased with this, and you know where I'm going. Carney Lansford, because there have been 4 bullets right back up the middle. Guy's not trying to do too much with the baseball.
Something that he was preaching during spring training, something they did the first 13, 14 ball games and kind of gotten away from it. The leg kick, even though Ryan was out in front a little bit, he kept his hands back, and then just once again, I've said it 3 times so far, just stay through the middle of the field. That bat will stay in the zone that much longer.
Remember, they had 4 straight hits in the 7th inning. It looked like they were going to pull off one of those Coors Field rallies.
Two-run double from Smith, highlighting it. Got to within 7-5. Had an opportunity to tie it. Tulowitzki was up there, runners at first and third, and hit a drive to deep left center field. That's when the Mets outfield was playing with their backs against the wall. Rockies ended up losing 9-5, but it looks like they're building on what they did late in the ball game yesterday, stringing some offense together.
And the other thing too is Mosley's next pitch will be his 36th, which is a ton. No matter if it's the first inning, the fourth inning, to have that many. And Bud Black, the back end of his bullpen is very strong, one of the best in the game. So you want, if you're going to get to these guys, you make sure you get to them early.
Yeah, you want to stay away from names like Gregerson, Adams, and Bell. Not to disparage anybody else who's down in the bullpen, but those three you especially don't want to see called upon.
Well, their ERA, the bullpen ERA for the Padres is first in the National League.
Outside on Iannetta, it's 3-1. 2.04 ERA. The opposition hitting just .211. They average 8 strikeouts per 9 innings. The Padres pen a 1.42 ERA the last 27, so they've been even better than that. They have an 11 2/3 scoreless stretch going. That's a strike. That 2.04 actually leads the big leagues in terms of bullpens.
Just caught the corner of the Ford strike zone.
It's a good pitch.
It was. It's a 3-1 pitch as a hitter. You really don't want to swing at.
If Iannetta reaches, pointed this out before, De La Rosa enjoys hitting. He's no picnic up there.
Well, the other thing too, with the full count, you're going to have the runners take off.
Inside, and De La Rosa will hit here in the first with the bases loaded. And again, there can't be any further conversations between Balsley or Bud Black and Mosley without bringing a hook with him. No action yet in the Padres bullpen, but as Jeff pointed out, the next delivery is pitch number 39.
Shocking, but good for the Rockies that they were able to do this to kind of send a message early to the Padres.
There's a hard ground ball to third. Headley cut it off, and he'll get the force to Alberto Gonzalez. Great start for the Rockies. They hit around in the first, and Tulowitzki's 2 RBIs lead the charge. Coming up in the 6th inning tonight, as always, text Toyota followed by a space, and then your comments and questions to 720-720. You know, Brad Hopp's in the building tonight, not in the starting lineup against the left-hander De La Rosa. Got to visit with Brad on the pregame show tonight. He's one of my all-time favorite Rockies Huey, because not only was just a wonderful human being, first and foremost, and you talk about even keel across the board. You would not know whether he was 0 for 4 after a game or 4 for 4.
And no excuses.
Never.
That to me speaks volumes about the man's character. He does not make an excuse if he had a bad game. Hey, I had a bad game. There was nothing. The sun was in my eyes, or I slipped a little bit, or anything like that.
Not feeling well, never. And Brad's come on. He had a rough start. He was hitting below 100, but he's really put together a nice stretch.
His last 13 ball games, 340, 5 multi-hit games.
Cameron Maben takes ball 1. Brad, an all-star with the Rockies in 2009. Ended up with 42 doubles that year, 5th in the National League. Back in 07, he drove in 116 when the Rockies went to the World Series. 2-0 on Maben.
That's like he's old school, no batting gloves.
Yeah, how about
taped
this?
up. Vlad Guerrero does that still.
At the knees for a strike. Maben, one of the top prospects in the game for several years, 3-2. He's now on his 3rd organization. Started with Detroit as part of the Dontrelle Willis deal. Went to Florida, and glimpses, but certainly not enough. And then Florida needed some help bullpen wise, and they got a couple of relievers in trading him to San Diego. Here's the 2-2.
I think this is a great fit for Maben. Bud Black can really kind of put his arm around the kid and say, you're going to be my center fielder. I'll live with some of the ups and downs. You're going to be out there every day.
Originally the 10th overall pick in the 05 draft by Detroit. He's still just 23. Actually 20. He just turned 24. This ball's well hit to right center field, and Smith's going to run out of room. Cameron Maben has just hit his 4th home run of the year, and it's 3-1 Colorado.
Those kind of skills are hard to come by in a 24-year-old, and that's why he's been so sought after from some different clubs. A ball down and away from a very long swing generates a lot of power. There was no doubt when that one left the bat.
Ryan Ludwig at the plate. Curveball misses, ball 1.
Well, that's not surprising. The Padres are 2nd fewest in the National League in home runs. I'm a little surprised Houston is as low as they are with their ballpark. But Petco traditionally yields very few home runs.
Ryan Ludwig's 2 for 15 lifetime against De La Rosa. Both hits home runs.
I like what Chris did right there. You give up the home run, you fall behind 2-0. Let's go out there, have a little chat, calm them down a little bit, and refocus.
If you were grading out what Chris has done handling a pitching staff this year, it'd have to be A's right across the board.
The work he's done with everybody, including Jason Hamill, the steps that he's taken, the ability to throw out runners, 9 for 26, 34%, when the average is somewhere in the neighborhood of 25, 26%. Game calling. Back-to-back changeups after falling behind 2-0. Hitters thinking this is a fastball count.
Mark Foley was talking about it. He's always blocked balls well, and he said, he's taken a stride forward from where he was in that.
Confidence.
And the strikeout, and he went to the changeup again. That was like Trevor Hoffman-esque.
Why not?
To back to back.
If Ludwig's not going to make the adjustment, he thinks you're going to keep throwing fastballs, and you keep going to the same spot, keep going until the batter makes you change. Too many times I think pitchers sit there and go, well, 2 changeups in a row, he hasn't come close, I got to throw him a fastball. Well, why? Throw him another changeup, see if he swings at it.
1 out, Rob Johnson at the plate. Here's something else about Chris. He's the only National League catcher who's not made an error, who plays on a regular basis. Rockies leading 3-1. Top of 2. Is it just me or the Padres that they run through some catchers the last decade?
They haven't found one that they felt like they can be the guy for 5 or 6, 7 years.
There's a lot of organizations, I guess, like that. Johnson with Seattle the last several years. Talking to some people within the organization, you know, there's a guy they really miss. They miss Adrian Gonzalez, numero uno, obviously, but they miss Yorvik Torrealba.
Yeah, Yorvik signed a 2-year deal with the Texas Rangers. The leadership, we saw it here with Colorado.
And the Rockies
but it's
flirted.
across the board, though.
Yeah.
It's not just one organization, and you'll see it in the draft coming up in June. Some catchers will be taken just because it's a premium position.
Really hard to find two-way guys. As you hit and defend. 3-1, ball 4 on Johnson. Nick Hundley's their everyday catcher, but Nick is on the disabled list right now.
With a strained oblique.
With a strained oblique, and he's about halfway home on that DL stint, if you will.
Yeah, he hasn't started any sort of baseball activities yet, so he's at least, in my mind, for a catcher, 2 weeks away.
And he was swinging the bat well in April. Alberto Gonzalez at the plate. Yeah, that's inside. He's getting time right now with Orlando Hudson on the DL.
And he'll start against the left-handers. The right-handers will probably be Eric Patterson tomorrow. Yes, that is Corey Patterson's younger brother out of Georgia Tech.
Well, you had Corey when you were coaching in the Cubs organization, and Eric, didn't you?
Yeah.
Just looking at the breakdown right now. 31 pitches, 14 balls, 17 strikes. Not the ratio Jorge's looking for. He's been far more consistent throwing his changeup for strikes than his heater.
Yeah, 12 or 13 of the strikes have been the changeup variety. Only 4 or 5 fastballs that have been located have been strikes.
Well, the Rockies pitching staff, check this out, in May has allowed the opposition to hit just .227. You say, man, that's outstanding. Probably have 7, 8 wins, right? No, they're 2-8. One of the big reasons they haven't scored runs, but one of the reasons also is they've walked a ton of batters. They've walked 56 this month, the most in the National League. This could be 2. There's 1, and there's 2. 5-4-3. Wigginton got it started. Nice turn at the bag by Jonathan Herrera. Home run by Maven. It's a 3-1 ball game. In the second inning, time to check in with Alana Rizzo with tonight's Fast Cash Sideline Report, brought to you by Fast Cash Gold Centers, where you'll always get 40% more for your gold. No rain gear tonight.
I know, it's so nice. A glorious day at the yard. I'm extremely thankful. Just one layer tonight, guys. I want to talk a little bit more about Dustin Mosley. You know, he was picked up by San Diego as the flyer for $900,000, and he would have started the season in the bullpen had it not been the injury to Matt Latos, which landed him on the disabled list. Now, Mosley, 1-4 record so far this season, a respectable 2.47 ERA coming into the ballgame. You guys had already talked about the lack of run support for him, but what's different for him this season is the fact that he has moral support. And what I mean by that is this is the first year in his career where he hasn't felt like he's had somebody breathing down his neck, waiting for them to take his position in the starting rotation. He feels like the team has confidence in him. Granted, he didn't have the best first inning here against the Rockies, thankfully, for those Rockies fans out there, but he doesn't feel like a bad outing is going to land him back in the pen or in AAA, guys.
Well, it goes back to Bud Black, Alana, and you made a great point. He has the confidence because after a second outing in spring training, Bud Black came to him and said, whether it's a starter or in the bullpen, you are on this team. So the rest of the time, he said, it was like a big weight was lifted off my shoulder. They showed me the confidence, and from there, he just went out and pitched.
One out, Johnny Herrera at the plate. Johnny walked his first time up. You know, a lot of mentioned Matt Latos. Listening to the talk shows today, and everybody trying to figure out what the issue is with Ubaldo Jimenez. Another rough outing yesterday. Actually, I should say another rough outing because 2 starts ago in San Francisco, he really pitched well. Run on 2 hits. He did walk 5 batters, and yesterday he had no command again of the fastball. This ball is base hit to center field for Johnny Herrera. Matt Latos, who went 16 straight starts last year at one point, allowing 2 runs or less, is 0-5 with an ERA of 4.86. So, you know, you talk about other, big name pitchers, and I know Latos still a young guy, so is Jimenez for that matter, but Latos struggling also.
Remember Lincecum in August last year?
Didn't win a game.
Didn't win a game. And almost the same thing. His velocity's down. What's wrong? He's tired. He's this. He's that. Well, he came back pretty strong from that in September and October.
And that's obviously what everybody hopes happens with Ubaldo.
Sure.
This is the toughest stretch of Ubaldo's career. Even when he came up, 4 years ago, he never went through a period like this. He's a bright young man who will figure it out.
Go back to being more of a power pitcher and control that fastball.
We were kicking this around today on the radio a little bit. I was thinking about this also this morning. What if you go out and throw, predominantly, 85–90% heaters in your next start? Do you establish that he throws as hard as anybody in baseball.
Brad Penny does it all the time.
There's a shot by Gonzalez. That's going to be a gapper. It's going to roll all the way to the wall. Herrera will score easily. Cargo thinking about a triple. And guess what? He's going to have one standing up. Boy, that's good to see. The ball gets straight away. Gonzalez will come home, and the Rockies have a 5 spot up. That was a dart to right center field, his first triple of the year. And then on the error, Gonzalez trots home.
It's just nice to see Carlos hit a ball that was off the plate and keep the hands back enough where he can get the top spin on it to carry it all the way to the wall. He knew there was no trouble with the triple. He was going to make that, and then the wild throw. Kind of reminds me of that play earlier this year with Chris Iannetta against the Cubs, where he hit the triple, and then they threw the ball into the dugout, and he was able to score.
You call that a Little League home run. Tulowitzki had a 2-run single his first time. 1 ball and 1 strike on Troy. 5 runs, 6 hits for the Rockies. They're trying to do a couple things tonight. 3 things. Number 1, they're trying to win a baseball game. Number 2, trying to get tacos for everybody. Swung on and missed. And number 3, have it a double-digit hit effort for the first time since April 20th, and they're well on their way.
And maybe have a laugher along the way, where you're not biting your nails chewing on them because it's such a close game.
1-2, and that's a base hit for Troy. Hit number 7. And think about all the hits, folks. Everything has been between about a 60-foot area right in the middle of the baseball diamond.
Everything you're talking about. We'll go back to that relay throw from Jason Bartlett on the triple by Carlos Gonzalez. The throw from Maven comes in, misses the first guy, and he just airmailed that into the dugout.
Helton had an RBI base hit up the middle his first time. Didn't fire there. It's in there for a strike. Rockies have 6 singles and the triple by Cargo.
Remember in yesterday's broadcast, or maybe the day before, you asked, what do you like better? Yeah, of course you like the home runs because they're very sexy. But the solo one, just you hit it, you're excited, and then it's over. But how nice has it been to put 2 or 3 hits together, drive in some runs, have more traffic out there for the pitcher. He's got to throw out of the stretch again. Something that's just been lacking for the last 3 weeks.
And for what this club needs, this is exactly what the doctor would order.
Mindset.
Yep.
Get it back into your mind that this is what it takes.
Off the plate, 2-1. You could hear Dan Iasani say ball outside.
I like that as a hitter or as a coach down by the dugout to hear that, so there's no guessing.
So you're not yelling from the dugout, where was that?
Where was that? Because you're sitting down a little bit lower. Sometimes it's hard to tell. You can tell height, but not width.
It's kind of nice. Umpire says ball up.
Ball up, yes. Ball inside.
He's a good one, Dan Iasani. 3 balls and a strike. Tulowitzki stole a base in the first inning. In fact, Cargo also stole a base in the first inning.
Wow, that is a huge number of pitches. 1 out here in the second.
3-2. We assume Tulowitzki will be running here with 1 out. Yeah, and think about it, Huey. There's only been 1 walk. Actually, let me correct that. There's been 2 walks. Now action for the Padres. Devin Scribner. Yeah, so far it's made Bud Black wince a little bit. And a longtime pitching coach as well, Darren Balsley. There goes Tulo, and Todd just got a piece of it.
I'm trying to see if there's anything wrong with Troy after he'd gone down into the tunnel that first inning. Kind of jogging back, it looked like there might be something, but when he took off, he was running well.
In the air to center field. Maven started back, but it wasn't hit as well as he thought. He comes in, makes the catch, 2 outs. Windshield damage, call Safelite Auto Glass at 303-287-5000 or go to safelight.com. The error, by the way, that allowed Carlos Gonzalez to score, originally they gave it to the shortstop. It was not Bartlett who took the relay throw. It was Alberto Gonzalez. So it's an error on Gonzalez. Here's Wigginton with 2 outs.
Well, they do it a little bit differently with the stronger arm of Jason Bartlett. 9 times out of 10 will be the second baseman that goes out. The shortstop will be the trailer. But even with that ball in the right center field gap, the shortstop went out. The second baseman was the trailer. Let's hope this trend continues. This year the Rockies are 9-5 with Ty Wigginton in the lineup. Just 10-11 when he's not.
I can tell you this much, because the Rockies by and large have pitched so well. Their record when they score 4 runs in a game or more, was it, Doug, 14-2 going into the ball game yesterday, and then they scored 5 yesterday and lost. So 14-3. Doug's doing some quick math. I'm doing that off the top of my head, but it's a very good record. And Wigginton out front 1-2.
After that swing, if there was any question about his oblique, it was answered even just missing it on that pitch.
Yeah, it's, I was just going to ask you about that, and he kind of was way out front and really torqued that left side.
I don't think I've seen that before.
I don't know if I've ever seen that. Wigginton trying to distract Rob Johnson, who clears himself to one side or the other to get a good look at first base. Look at Wigginton. Your neighborhood Toyota stores. Toyota moving forward. By AT&T, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. By the Colorado Lottery, don't forget to play. And by Jack in the Box, get the new bourbon barbecue steak grilled sandwich at participating restaurants. We go to the top of the 3rd inning. The Rockies have scored 5 times already. They have 7 hits. 5-1 they lead. Dustin Mosley will lead it off. And the first pitch misses, ball 1. There's 3 hits for Mosley, the first 3 hits of his career. Been an American League guy. He's gone between the rotation at different times with the Angels and last year at the Yankees, and working out of the bullpen.
And up and down.
And up and down.
The shuttle.
He's from Texarkana, Arkansas. Former #1 pick of the Cincinnati Reds. Smith with a long run, and Smitty will get there. 1 out, and De La Rosa will set his sights next on Chris Denorfia. In spring training, we asked Bob Apodaca about the maturation of De La Rosa.
He has come so far in the last 2-3 years as far as confidence in himself, confidence in his teammates, trust in his teammates, trust in his coaching staff, the ability to shake off a bad situation where he controls his emotions. These are huge inroads that Jorge has made.
And you can see it when you watch him on the mound, whether you're watching on television tonight, or if you're at the ballpark and Jorge's on the mound, when something doesn't go well, I mean, you could see a near meltdown in the past, and he handles it better. I mean, he's an emotional guy. It's not going to. That's not going to change. It's a good thing
if you channel it in the right way. Right. And he's understood now how to channel it to his advantage.
This is a high fly ball to deep left center field. Gonzalez starting back. Can he get there? Yes. How many left fielders make that play? And how many times have we said that this year?
You could see Jorge shaking his head because he thought that was at least a double, maybe a triple. And Carlos, the jump that he got on this ball made it look much easier than what this play is. He goes back, and now he starts to break it down a little bit because he's already caught up to the baseball.
He's such a fluid runner. Yeah, De La Rosa is pointing out he wasn't happy because that ball was hit 400 some odd feet, but it's an out.
But also, let's give credit to Jim Tracy by understanding that this ballpark with left center field, you need guys that have the speed in left field and center field here. So he's just said, Carlos, you're the left fielder now. You're going to play 81 games here at Coors Field. Go patrol it.
2-0 on Jason Bartlett. In there at 92. 2 balls and a strike. Padres won 90 games last year. They were not eliminated until the final game of the year, number 162 at AT&T Park, where Bud Black's team lost to the Giants. And of course, the Giants ended up winning the whole enchilada.
I know it was a question once they started the season. Well, how long can they stay there? It's going to be in April. Okay, then it's May, June. They said, no, we're taking it down to game 162. Everybody thought that the Padres would fold. They didn't have enough offense. I was one of them.
I got my hand raised right here.
I'll admit it.
I did not think they'd be able to sustain it. In the air to right field. Smith is there. And a 1-2-3 third inning for Jorge De La Rosa. Rockies leading 5-1 on their home court. That's what the big leaguers do, right, Huey? That's what you used to do to get ready.
Nothing wrong with hitting a wiffle ball.
Get the ball off the tee.
I just wish the fences were that close when I was hitting.
You're not alone. Brian Spilborgh's at the plate, takes ball 1 from Dustin Mosley, who's had a rough ride so far. Faced 9 in the first inning, gave up 3 runs. Faced 6 in the second inning, gave up 2 runs. DeNorfia makes the catch. 1 out. That takes us to our Geico quote of the day. From our old friend Brad Hopp on his return to Coors Field. Hopefully I'll get a good reaction because I gave them everything I had for a long time. I had some good moments there, but I'm coming with the opposing team, so you never know. Well, I think most fans, and we won't know tonight, but tomorrow when Brad's in the lineup and he gets introduced and walks to the plate, I think and I hope everybody stands and applauds, because he was an 11th round pick out of LSU. He did everything right in a Rockies uniform. He had some big years and big moments in a Rockies uniform. And my favorite moment was against the Padres in that run of September of 2007 in the 14th inning, left on left off of Thatcher.
Joe Thatcher took him deep to left center field.
And Huey, I mean, the fog was in. I mean, it took a cannon to